All rise. We will obey. The International Criminal Court is now in session. Audiencia de la Corte Penal International, 8 word. Please be seated. Puede sosua.
Thank you very much. Court officer, please announce the case.
Good morning, as Mr. President. Situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samoei Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang, case number ICC 0109-0111. For the record, we are in open session.
Thank you. Appearances?
Good morning, Your Honours. Appearances are as before, except our intern, Mr. Hassan, is no longer with us today.
Good morning, Your Honours. The same. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honours. Mr. Sang is present, and his team remains the same. I apologize to my learned friend.
That's all right. We'll come back to him later.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. We are joined today by Ms. Shalini Jayaraj.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Your Honours, good morning. Good morning, everyone. As yesterday, I'm Emil Aoun, as Rule 74 Duty Counsel for the witness P800. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Steinberg, witness, welcome back. Thank you for rejoining us. Mr. Steinberg will continue his questions to you. Mr. Steinberg?
Thank you, Your Honour. Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
Mr. Witness, before I move on to a new subject, I just want to clarify 2 or 3 issues relating to what we were dealing with yesterday. And unfortunately, Your Honour, I see we're in public session. We're going to have to continue with this in private session. I regret.
Private session.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honour. Now, Mr. Witness, we're in open session, so I remind you please to refer to your PIS form whenever mentioning individuals or places who might identify you or which might identify you. Mr. Witness, how long did you remain in protection location number 1 after this meeting with person 22 we've been discussing?
I'm not very sure about the dates, Your Honor, but about 1 month.
And what led to your leaving that location?
At one point, Your Honor, there was misunderstanding between me and...
We are in public session. Remember that. That's not to say you shouldn't answer the question, but if you're going to mention the name of somebody, remember to look at the PIS to see if...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There was misunderstanding between me and officers of the court who are in that location. And at that point, before we solved our issues, I received a call from person number 19.
What did person number 19 want?
He wanted me to get back because he said it was that he had tried to come and talk to person number 8, but he did not succeed. He therefore asked me if I could get back to Kenya, and he will organize that nothing will happen to me.
For what purpose was he trying to get hold of person number 8? Do you know?
Yes, Your Honor. Like person number 22, this person number 19 wanted to see person number 8 for the same agenda.
And on whose behalf was person number 19 acting? Do you know that?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm aware he was sent by those who are concerned to make sure that witnesses recant their testimonies.
And when you say sent by those concerned, who are you referring to? Who are those concerned?
I'm aware he was sent by person number 7.
Right. Now, after you received this phone call from person number 19, what did you do?
I went back to Kenya.
Jonas, can I just seek one clarification? Is when he says person 19 was sent, does that mean somebody has gone somewhere or being asked to do something? Just a clarification.
Ms. Alexandra, remember you have a right of cross-examination, so anything that's not clear to you, you can pursue in cross-examination, but that's not to say that, Mr. Steinberg, if you feel a need to clarify at the request of your colleague, you may not do so.
Thank you, Your Honours. I'll ask a slightly different question, which might serve the same purpose. You've told us that person number 19 travelled to your... Well, where did he go to when he was trying to see person number 8? Was that your protection location number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
And he also contacted you. So my question is, when you say he was sent by other people, was that for the purposes of finding person number 8 or contacting you, or both?
when person number 19 came to my protection location 1, he had intentions to see person number 8.
Just stop there. And was he sent by somebody to do that, or was that on his own initiative?
He was sent by person number 7.
And when he contacted you and asked you to return to Kenya, was he sent or instructed by somebody to do that, or was that on his own initiative?
He said he had discussed with person number 7 and it was okay.
What happened when you returned to Kenya?
Person number 7 organized a meeting with me and person number 19 in Kenya.
All right. Your Honours, to get the details of this meeting, I think it's going to be identifying, and we're also getting towards matters relating to Rule 74. If I can just ask one more question, I think we can do in public session, and then I'm going to have to ask to go into private, please. What was the purpose of this meeting with person number 7 and person number 19?
The purpose of the meeting was to discuss on offers that I wanted so that I could recant my testimony.
When you say offers that you wanted, was this a demand you communicated, or was this an offer that was provided to you?
I didn't understand, Your Honor.
You say discussed offers that you wanted. Just explain that. What do you mean offers that you wanted?
To discuss how much money I wanted so that I could recant my testimony.
And who requested that meeting?
It's person number 7 through person number 19.
Thank you. Private session, please, Your Honours.
You want to now explore the details of the meeting, you say, between persons 7 and 19, Mr. Steinberg?
That's correct, Your Honours.
All right. Before we do that, I want to have a clearer understanding of certain aspects of the testimony thus far given. Now, witness, you said you left protection or protected relocation, protection location number 1 because of misunderstanding between you and the court officers at that location, protection location number 1. Is that it?
Yes, Your Honor.
At that misunderstanding, did it happen before, after, or during the period of your interactions that we've seen evidence of with person number 22?
after my interactions with person number 22, Your Honor.
Thank you. And we'll go into...
Your Honours, perhaps if I may just clarify, to ask one follow-up question before we go into private session.
Yes, and when we go into private session, I have some more questions on this matter.
Your Honours, I think this is something I can ask in public session. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding about the nature of this problem he had with...
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Proceed. I'm saying that in private session, I may have some other questions about this.
Mr. Witness, what was the nature of this misunderstanding you were having? What was your problem?
Your Honor, sometimes when we were there, our allowances would come late. And also, allowances that was given to my family, I felt was too little to support them. And that is why I was talking to those officers who were at the ground by that time, and they were delaying to relay back information to me. I remember at times I talked to the investigators about it, and they were saying that they will come and solve it in the headquarters. But they took a lot of time without getting back on to me. Other officers at the ground also are saying that I had no right to demand for anything at that moment, because I had not signed a memorandum of understanding between me and the court. So it got very hard for me to forward my complaints because of that fact. And when I was approached by person number 19, I felt it was it was better for me to get back home and try to get ways to support my family without getting into more conflicts between me and the officers who were at the ground at that time.
And briefly, what problems were you having supporting your family?
It was about I was asking if we could be before I went to location number 1.
Protection location number 1.
Yeah, protection location number 1. I used to pay for insurance for my children, and I was asking if, now that I was not able to work anymore from Kenya at that time, if I could be supported to continue paying, because I had paid, I was supposed to pay every month. I also was paying someone who was working at home in location number 9, and I was asking if I could be supported, because debts were piling up, and now I was told they were coming to discuss and get back to me, but they were taking a lot of time without doing that.
Thank you, Your Honours. Private session, please.
And those were your questions clarified what I said I was interested in asking in private session. We'll go to private session then.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
My name is Shamila Alagendra, and I come from Malaysia. And I am going to be the counsel that's going to be asking you questions on behalf of the defense team of Mr. Ruto. Are you clear on that?
Yep.
So before we go further, you'll have a lot of time to look at that document, so if you could listen to my questions. Yeah? So before we go further, allow me to clarify. You've met with the prosecution investigators and you've spoken to them on very many occasions, am I right?
You're right.
In fact, there's been hundreds when you put together phone calls, SMSs, text messages, interviews, meetings. Am I right?
Yes.
And you will confirm, sir, for the court, that apart from your screening interview on the 8th of October 2012 and your 5-day interview between 25th October and 29 October of 2012, that's 2 years ago, you will confirm that apart from those occasions, all your interactions with the OTP for the last 2 years have been about Article 70 issues concerning witness interference. That's correct, yes?
I beg your pardon? From what time was about Article 70?
After your screening interview on the 8th of October 2012, and after your first formal interview, the 5-day interview you had, between 25th October and 29 October 2012, 2 years ago, after that, all your interactions have been about Article 70 matters, correct? You've not gone back to discuss what you told them about the post-election violence. Am I correct?
I want to confirm that in most occasions we've discussed about Article 70. But time frame, I'm not sure.
Witness, you do understand what the reference to Article 70 means, do you?
Witness interruptions.
Witness interference.
Interference, yeah.
All right, thank you. Ms. Alakendra, is your question so that it is clear to me at least that the witness has met with the prosecution staff on 2 periods. One period being the intake interview, and the second period being the period 5-day interview between the 25th and 29th of October 2012.
Your Honour, if I can clarify, and I'm
Yes.
sure there's no dispute on these dates, even for my learned friend, is
What I'm trying to, I just want to get numbers of meetings to period 1 and period 2.
Perhaps I can clarify that
Yes.
with the witness, Your Honor. Sir, just so their honours have it clear, you've had 2 discussions, apart from the one last week. Keep that aside. Your preparation session, keep that aside. But you've met with the prosecution or discussed with them issues pertaining to the post-election violence, 1, during your screening, and 2, during your 5-day interview when you gave them all the facts that you were testifying to here. Those were the only 2 occasions that you spoke about post-election violence with the OTP. Am I right?
Your Honor, I kindly request you to use simple language that I can understand. When you say screening, you mean when I first met the investigators before I gave my testimony, or what kind of screening are you talking about?
I'm talking about your initial contact
With the
prosecution when you told them what information you have
yes,
relating to the post-election violence.
yes,
That's 1.
yes,
And the date we have on record, and my learned friend will agree, is 8th of October 2012. Correct?
I don't remember the date, but I met them before I went to give my what I have as a statement.
So your first meeting with them was when you gave them information generally about what you know about the post-election violence.
Yes,
That was the first time you met them,
yes.
in October 2012.
He said he doesn't remember the date.
The date is not in dispute, Your Honour.
So, okay. So, Ms. Allegre, you're still talking about the first meeting,
Yes.
what you refer to as the screening meeting.
Indeed.
Yeah, I confirm that I met them, Your Honor.
Wait 1 second. And so that's what we're talking about now.
Exactly.
So you have not moved to the interview period.
No.
No. All right. So you're now saying the witness met the OTP on that occasion,
Yes.
the first time.
Yes.
All right. Take it from there.
Then we come to the second time, sir, which is maybe a few days later, or 1 or 2 weeks later, where you met them for 5 days, and then you gave them details about the post-election violence. Correct? Probably in a location outside of Kenya.
Yes,
And apart from those 2 meetings, all your other interactions with the prosecution has not been about the post-election violence. It has only been about witness interference issues, correct?
Your Honor, I don't remember every other detail, not unless if we can go to statements that I've gave since then, I'll be able to confirm. But I know I gave my statements, and after giving my statements in that location outside Kenya, I was relocated to protection location 1, and from that time I've been having so many interactions with the investigators. And at every other time I give them information, I do give in terms of either audio or I sign statements. And I believe all the information that I've given is in this court.
So all those very many meetings that you had with the prosecution after you gave them your information about the election violence has been about witness interference and your security issues, correct?
He answered that question, didn't he? Saying he doesn't remember the details, but the details could be verified because all his meetings are on record in the possession of the prosecution. That was my understanding of his answer. And you're asking him the last question. It's basically worrying that proposition further.
Indeed, Your Honor. Mr. Witness, thank you for that indication. And we are able to confirm from all the records that we have that those were the only two occasions where the prosecution has ever discussed anything to do with the post-election violence with you, and all the interactions with you for the last 2 years after that has been only about witness interference and your security issues. So thank you for that guidance.
Court reporter has at line 15, the word, it's not warranting, but worrying, as in worry something. Proceed, please.
Sir, can you confirm that you have not provided the prosecution with any recordings of planning meetings in Mr. Ruto's house or in Ziwa, which may have taken place in 2007?
Your Honor, excuse me. I don't know if giving names is good for my client. I prefer to go to private session if we are going to give names, especially for places.
Your Honor, perhaps that's an objection that should have come from the prosecution. And in any event, these are locations which the court has heard endless testimony about since the case started.
Mr. Allen, the question is proper. Proceed, Ms. Alakendra.
Sir, let me just repeat the question. You will confirm, sir, that you've never given the prosecution any recordings of planning meetings which took place in the home of Mr. Ruto or Ziwa that allegedly took place in those two locations in 2007. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you will confirm, sir, you never gave it to the prosecution because you never had such recordings, yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you will also confirm, sir, that you have not provided the prosecution with any electronic or paper reports about anything related to the post-election violence or campaigns. Do you confirm that?
I have given reports, part of reports that I was given by
Private session.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you.
So you will recall that before my learned friend finished his questioning, he took you through an affidavit and some annexures, which were letters in your handwriting. You recall that?
yes,
And you told the court that the contents of the affidavit is false and it's not yours, correct?
in any way, Your Honor, I didn't use the word false. And what I said is that I don't know the contents of this affidavit, because having looked at it the last time I saw it, I said other parts happened to have talked about myself, and others were not true. So parts of wordings of this affidavit, part of it, if we go paragraph by paragraph, we will find out that other parts talks about myself and what I went through, but others are not are not true. And also to confirm that I only went to sign the affidavit, but did not sit with someone who was writing paragraph by paragraph.
So you told the court not long ago before the break that you found most of that affidavit to be untrue. And Your Honor, that's at page 25, lines 15 to 17.
Sorry.
That's what I have confirmed to have said that, Your Honor.
Sorry, Your Honor, just for my clarity and the witnesses, there are two affidavits. Which one is my learned friend referring to, please?
So is there any one of the two affidavits you have read yours? That you actually take responsibility for the content and signature and everything in it?
I went only to append my signature to these affidavits. On the first affidavit, on the first affidavit of withdrawal, I just went to the advocate's office to sign, and on the second affidavit, I went to also append my signature to the last page, and I have described how that page looked like.
So you seem to be having the affidavit in front of you, is that correct? Do you have the signed affidavit in front of you?
Sure, I have it.
And Your Honor, for the record, I'm looking at KenOTP 0145-0554. That's the bundle of papers my learned friend handed up earlier. So, could you quickly scan through the contents of that affidavit? I believe you read it a few days ago, so you can do it quickly for us. So you will confirm paragraphs 3...
I see the witness is still reading, sorry, Your Honor.
I was going to direct him to some paragraphs, Your Honor. So you will confirm paragraphs 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're factually true, isn't it?
Your Honor, paragraph 3. Looking at this paragraph, Your Honor, is untrue.
Sir, let me just interrupt you. If there's anything in that paragraph that will identify you, please don't say it out loud. Please continue.
Your Honor, I was saying, no one requested me to become a witness, but I went voluntarily to give my testimony to the investigators of this honorable court.
So, while we are there, thank you for that. In fact, we're aware of that, and you were in fact introduced to the prosecution by person number 6, correct? Person number 6 in the...
Yes, I was introduced.
By person number 6. Sir, can I ask you to please put that paper down and perhaps concentrate on the questions for now?
Yes, I concentrate, Your Honor.
Thank you. So you were introduced by person number 6, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you traveled to the location of your interview with person number 6, correct?
You are wrong, Your Honor.
And you were interviewed the day after he finished his interviews with the OTP.
Wrong, Your Honor.
I'll come back to that, sir. Is that the only thing that is wrong with paragraph 3 of the affidavit? What you just explained?
To me, the way I understand this paragraph, it's like the investigators lured me to become a witness. If I was the one seated and writing this paragraph, I will not have framed it the way it is framed. Because the picture that is coming in my mind is as if the investigators were going around just trying to get individuals who will come and give testimony. But I myself, if I did not want to become a witness, I was not forced by anyone to go to see the investigators. I rather went there because I felt I had information that I wanted to give out. So I went there voluntarily without being forced by anyone.
But introduced by person number 6.
Your Honor, person number 6.
Sir, can I just stop you there and just request you to please answer yes or no to the question? Introduced by person number 6, yes?
Yes.
And apart from that issue you've just been explaining, everything else in paragraph 3 is correct.
Most things in this paragraph are wrong, my honor, because around midday, this is wrong. Nothing about midday.
There is nothing by midday, you're correct.
Let me read, my honor.
Well, why don't we go to private session where Ms. Alekendra will read the propositions in paragraph 3 so that we move forward.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you.
So let me change my approach and deal with this affidavit a bit more simply. Your testimony is that this is an affidavit stating that you're recanting your testimony in this case. Is that what the idea is behind this affidavit?
Sorry, again, Your Honour, which affidavit? There are two affidavits that were submitted for two different purposes.
Either one of them, sir.
Where we take it one at a time. I have in front of me the one ending with 0554, where we were looking at as regards its paragraph 3. Can we deal with that first, and then we can look at the other one?
Certainly. So shall we look at the first affidavit?
Which one?
The first one you're looking at now.
Yes.
Is it your testimony that by this affidavit you were being made to recant your testimony to the prosecution and to be a witness in this case?
Your Honour, that wasn't his testimony. Perhaps my learned friend can refer to the portion of the record where this witness said that affidavit 0554 was made for that purpose.
Your Honour, my question was, is it your testimony, not was it?
First of all, witness, look at the bottom, the very last writing on the first cover, on the first page, the front cover. You see that? So on the front page that begins with Republic of Kenya. See that right on top? It says Republic of Kenya. You see that?
Yes.
All right. Look at the very last writing. What 4 letters end what you're looking at? The writing. Does it end with 0554?
0554.
Thank you. So that we're all looking at the same document. All right. Ms. Alekendra?
So by this affidavit, does it indicate that you are recanting as a witness in this case?
Not unless I read. But as far as I'm concerned, Your Honor, my honor is that this affidavit, I understand its purpose was about the issue of person number 22.
And so you will agree with me that there is nothing in this first affidavit where you say, there's nowhere in this affidavit where you say that Mr. William Ruto or Joshua Sang, that the allegations you made against them in the ICC is false, correct? It doesn't say that. You accept that?
Not unless I read it so that I can make confirmations, my Honor.
So didn't you read this affidavit a few days ago?
You can agree with me that I already had so many documents. I can't keep every paragraph with me and just confirm most of such before I refresh my mind by reading it again.
Okay, so let me do it this way. I'm going to put it to you that in the first affidavit, in the handwritten letter, and in the third affidavit, there is nothing there which says that any of the information you gave the prosecution, that Mr. William Ruto and Joshua Sang were involved in the PEV, is false. And I don't think there's any dispute from my learned friend, the prosecution. So with that, Your Honor, if I may proceed.
I think so, yes.
Thank you.
So would it be the case then, prosecutor, that the second affidavit would be the document appearing as part of the bundle you handed up, as an attachment to the affidavit we just looked at?
Yes.
So the second affidavit appears with the ERN number that ends with 0562.
Indeed, Your Honor, that's the first page, and the affidavit, if one goes to the last page, is dated 29th of August 2013 at 0565. It purports to be the withdrawal affidavit.
Thank you.
Your Honor, could I please request that the document be taken from the witness? He's unable to put it down.
Witness, put it aside. Yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm done now.
All right. Not just because of Ms. Alakendra's request, but we also don't. It isn't convenient to have your desk cluttered with documents. So if we can put it aside until the witness needs it. If you do need to look at it, then request it.
Okay, Your Honor.
Court officer, can we retrieve that and allow him a clean sheet and clean desk, leaving only the PIS, I think, for now.
Yes, could we go into a private session for a few minutes?
Well, we are now the time for lunch break. I think it's a convenient time to take it, and we will reconvene at 2:30. Closed session, please.